What do you say, guys? On the show today, we're going to talk about Jed Hoyer's comments about no prospect in the Cubs organization being untouchable. I don't think anybody in the entire roster in the organization is untouchable. I mean, look, the $1 Million Man used to say every man has his price. Ken Rosenthal talks about a possible destination for Kyle Tucker that I found asinine, and we're going to talk about that. Ethan Conrad signed Cubs first-round pick under slot, and I think that's one of the reasons that they drafted him. And the Cubs signed a veteran reliever that had a pretty good season last year. We're going to get into all those things right here on the Cubs Baseball channel today. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. You can tell we're not in the home studio right now. We're on the road again, like Willie Nelson said. But that doesn't stop us from talking Cubs baseball. What a great win. Sorry about your winning streak, Red Sox. Got them again today. One of the real good interleague matchups, even though I don't even call it interleague baseball anymore. Let's get this show started. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel. Great to talk to you guys today. Look, it is a hot start to the second half of the season after the All-Star break. Well, it was a good win over the Red Sox. Love the Blues, man. I love them. I love those Cubby Blues, man. I like the bear playing guitar. I like the sea. I like it. Okay. No, I love it. And I've even got a hat ordered. And if Wrigleyville Sports would send that hat to me, I'd be a lot happier because I ordered it like a month ago. But anyway, I know you guys have your gear as well. And watching them play those Friday day games, fantastic. And the baby blues, I love the batting helmets. And they've played pretty good baseball on Fridays this year. All right, let's start with Jed Hoyer. Because, sometimes I don't want to say I'm ever critical of Jed. But I think sometimes, like, I look at things and I'm like, why is Owen Casey not in the major leagues? Like, he should just be there. Like, there should be a spot for him, right? If he's in any other organization, he's there. We're letting him rot. What are we going to trade him for? But then sometimes you look and you're like, hey, man, the guy did this and he did that. He's had some big hits this year, and obviously the team's first place and, number one power ratings right now. So it's a tough job, man, because people criticize. But I'm pulling for him. And he was talking to Marquee Sports Network, and basically, he said, talking about like trades, right? And are any of the players like untouchable? And he's like, it all depends on the return. Honestly, always, no one is untouchable, he said, right? But at the same time, we have a lot of really good prospects, and you have to feel like you're getting, great value. So it really just depends on what the value is. And I know everybody's kind of like focusing in on Owen Casey. 19 home runs, 42 batted in, 78 games, 278 average. He's going to be a really good big leaguer. I think the thing about Casey that sticks out to me is I think that not only is he going to be a good big leaguer, I just think he's going to be a good big leaguer for a long time. And I think the minute the Cubs trade him, he's going to never be back in the minor leagues again. And if Joe Maddon was managing, I said this on the show yesterday, he'd already been in the big leagues because Joe Maddon loved to have those guys up and grab the energy and the enthusiasm and the excitement that they bring to the clubhouse. And also the talent that he has, as a left-handed pop. Now, I know the Cubs have some good left-handed hitters, but he could definitely help them, and they could be creative with the lineup. But I don't know that that's going to happen. I think the more likely possibility is that the Cubs trade him. But I'm going to agree with Jed Hoyer on something right now, and that is no one is untouchable. And that's why I can't stand that they gave no trade clauses to Ian Happ and Seiya Suzuki. I don't think you should give them to anybody because you have a lot more flexibility with your roster when you can trade players. And I don't think anybody's untouchable. Even Pete Crow Armstrong, even Kyle Tucker. If somebody comes at you with a deal that you can't resist, then take it. You look at, and I think about this, the Great Train Robbery. It's a trade that was made in the NFL. Herschel Walker went to the Minnesota Vikings, and they gave up like a ton of players. And all they did was help the Dallas Cowboys build a dynasty that won 3 Super Bowls. And part of the core of that came from the Great Train Robbery, which was the nickname of that trade for Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker was best running back in the NFL, still a legend. But at the same time, that trade is the exact reason why you never say someone's untouchable. Paul Skeens isn't untouchable. If somebody made the right package, I'm sure the Pirates would take it. But you'd have to give up a lot. Look at the Juan Soto trade. Juan Soto got traded by the Nationals to the Padres, and the players that the Nats got back are all great players. So, hey, is this a trade that we would make? I don't know. Well, here's the deal. Yeah, we'll take that. I think being open-minded is a really good thing, and it's important, when you're trying to build an organization, to not be afraid to make a deal that might give up a great player, but if you get the right amount back, then, it's okay. So I get that. I think that's a smart thing to say. And I think the other part of it for him is that we're about to see the Cubs make a bunch of trades. And I think that they're just trying to protect themselves, because brace yourself, right? Hey, the channel's brought to you by our friends at D Community. Stay connected at D Community. We're in the process right now of putting everything together for you guys. We're going to give away playoff tickets on here. How about that? Playoff tickets. You guys want to go to the playoff? You want to see the Cubs in the playoffs? We're going to get you covered at our D Community site. So the QR code set up. We're not quite ready for you yet, but we're building it right now. It's our Web3 home for all things Cubs baseball channel. And we appreciate them for being on here right now. All right, second thing. This one to me was absolutely hilarious. And I love Ken Rosenthal. Love him. I mean, I think he's one of the best parts about baseball coverage. Like, he does a great job. But when I read that he thinks that we better watch out for the Tampa Bay Rays signing Kyle Tucker, I just want to be like, oh, hell no. I mean, look, I know that Tucker's from Tampa, and I know that Stuart Sternberg has a lot of cash. And, that they've thought about signing some guys, like they would love to have gotten Freddie Freeman or, put themselves in the mix for some other players. I'm here to tell you right now, they can't afford Kyle Tucker. I mean, you're talking about an organization that has 10,000 seats at the stadium they're playing at right now. And it's, I'm not blaming the fact that they have 10,000 seats to the dome getting the roof blown off in a hurricane. People weren't going before that. And we always hear these excuses. Oh, it's the bridge, that people don't want to go across the bridge, or it's Florida. There's a lot of great things going on. We don't want to go. Look, people are not fans of the Tampa Bay Rays. They could give two craps about them. And in this business, like, to be able to go out and sign a guy for $600 million, you got to sell tickets. You got to sell merch. And they're not doing that in Tampa. I mean, they are as close to a AAA team as the big leagues have. And they just should be thankful that the Oakland A's are there, which really aren't even the Oakland A's anymore. They're the West Sacramento A's, but eventually they're going to be the Las Vegas A's. I think that they're actually going to do pretty good out in Vegas. This isn't happening. And I just think it's funny because I do love Ken, and look, everything he says, we always talk about it. I mean, but dude, come on. Like, I get it. Like somebody probably hinted, like an agent probably said, hey, Tucker's from Tampa and the Rays are ready to spend. The Rays aren't ready to spend. Every time they get a good player, they trade them away because they can't afford them. Like they're the team that's trying to get rid of the guy a year too early than a year too late. That's who they are. The reason why is if you go to a Rays game and the Cubs are in town, there's more Cubs fans than Rays fans. Go to a Yankees game. And I'm not talking about just at George Steinbrenner Field. There's more Yankees fans by 3-1 over the Rays. Rays don't have a fan base. They're not in a big TV market. If the Rays stopped playing baseball, no one would pay attention. They're not signing Kyle Tucker, Ken. I mean, you can throw it out there, but it's not happening. And I'm just telling you guys that right now because this is the most ridiculous thing I've heard come out of this whole Kyle Tucker thing. Look, I believe the Dodgers would sign him. I mean, I was in Vegas and the Dodgers had a Dodger store in the mall in Vegas with Ohtani and Betts and Yamamoto and all their jerseys in there. It was like a whole store of jerseys and people go in there and buy them because they have star players. That's how they can afford it. They've learned how to market themselves in Japan, in the global baseball world. And they haven't been afraid to go out there and spend for Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and this guy and that guy. They have an all-star team, and they won, 2 World Series since 2020. The Rays are not buying Kyle Tucker. The Dodgers might. The Giants are probably going to put in a bid. The Yankees lost out on Soto. They're going to try to buy him. But there is no way, you can mark this down, no way, read my lips. Remember when George Bush had that said to him in the debates? Remember I had to study that in school? Read my lips. No new taxes. Read my lips. Kyle Tucker will not end up in Tampa Bay. He will not sign in Tampa Bay. The only way they're getting him is in a trade. And I don't know that the Cubs are going to trade him to Tampa Bay. Maybe some other team will. But that's hilarious to me that's even a possibility out there. All right, a couple other things that I know you guys are like, what do you, Mick, you're riled up? Like, I am. Because the ridiculousness of that is just like, I'm just laughing. Like, they are the cheapest team because they don't have fans. When we talk about the game of baseball, I've spent 20 years working in the game. And like you guys, I've loved it my whole life. It's the fans that make this. The reason that the Yankees can spend so much money is because the Yankees have a ton of fans that spend money. Same thing with the Mets. Same thing with the Dodgers. I think that's the frustrating part that Cubs fans feel sometimes about ownership is they're going, hey, there's 100,000 million of us out there that are spending money. We need to go ahead and put it back into the team. And I think that Tucker's going to be the guy that they're going to do that with. I'd be really disappointed if they get outbid and it's close. They got in it. They tried to get Shohei Ohtani, but he was always going to be a Dodger. Hopefully, when it comes down to the way that this Tucker thing goes, then he'll decide that he wants to be part of the Cubs for a long time because he's a great fit. All right, this was the move right here. We talked about it on the show. Ethan Conrad, the outfielder, the left-handed hitting outfielder, maybe the insurance policy for Owen Casey and Kyle Tucker when one leaves as a trade and one leaves as a free agent. But one will not leave as a free agent to Tampa Bay, in my humble opinion. He was signed below slot, right? So the Cubs gave him $356 million. He was slotted for, $4.75 million. But we knew this. The guy was hurt. They drafted a guy who hadn't played since the second month of the season. Played some great baseball at Marist, and they just think that because of the way that he played in the Cape and what they saw at Marist and his first, run at Wake Forest, that he's a first-round pick, and a lot of the draft experts felt the same way. Cubs actually got really good scores with the draft this year. But by signing him under slot, the Cubs are going to have all of that money to use to try to sign guys down the draft board. So this is a good thing. And they did the same thing with Kyle Tucker. I mean, with Kyle Schwarber. Remember? I mean, that wasn't a guy that anybody thought was going to be a first-round pick. Cubs signed him and drafted him, signed him in the first round, and it turned out to be a brilliant move. Unlike the move when they non-tendered him and just let him walk. But he helped win the World Series. Now he's a All-Star Game MVP and an all-time great. So we'll see what happens with the rest of the signings. But I figured that when, they took him, he only played 21 games last year, but he did well. I figured that he was going to be someone that the Cubs, could sign for less. And maybe they don't feel like the shoulder thing is going to be that big of a deal. And so, that helps them out a lot. Now, the other guy, Kane Kepley, who is the outfielder from North Carolina, Cubs are working on that one right now. And he's a guy that could go back to school. So they'll have some extra money to sign him, another left-handed hitting outfielder. And they got a couple of pitchers that they're trying to sign, so we'll see what happens. But I think this was as far as the business part of it, not a bad move at all, because, as long as he comes back healthy, then, that you're going to be able to kind of use that money for other guys in the draft. And the goal is you draft 20 guys, you want to sign 20 guys, that's it. All right. The Cubs signed Spencer Turnbull. I'm not really sure what the deal is there. Like I remember him being very good last year with the Phillies, right? 32 years old now, 17 appearances, 7 starts with the Phillies. And he was good. 265 earned run average, had more than a strikeout per inning. And I'm sure the Cubs are thinking to themselves, like, hey, if we can get him figured out, he's kind of a guy that works on the off-speed stuff and pitches off of that. He signed with the Blue Jays in May, and then in 3 appearances, gave up 12 hits in 6 1/3 innings. So that's not very good at all. He had a 7.13 ERA, and the Blue Jays were like, yeah, this isn't working out for us. And so John Heyman basically talked about the fact that the Cubs yesterday had made a deal to get him. So I'm curious what the deal means. I mean, is he going straight to the big leagues, or is he going to be in the minor leagues for a while? I think those are all fair questions, but I'll give the front office credit. Like, no stone unturned. I mean, these guys are going hard on who's available. Can we get them in there? Can we work them and basically figure out a way to put him in the pitch lab and correct whatever's not going? Because look, they've seen Turnbull. We know he can pitch well, but can he do it again? And that's the hope. So, they did this with Genesis Guerrera. It didn't work out. He didn't stick very long, right? But then some of the other guys that they've picked up over the years have turned out to be great, and that's kind of what their hope is. So anyway, all right, look, thank you guys again. I promise we got some fun stuff coming up with D Community. The QR code's there. We're not set up yet, but we're going to be. I just want to throw it up on the screen so you guys kind of get an idea of what's coming. But that's going to include Cubs playoff tickets. Don't tell me I'm jinxing us. I'm just saying, we make the playoffs, we're going to give some tickets away, and we're going to make the playoffs. The Fangraphs tell us that the odds are in our favor right now, 90% chance, so over 90%. So I feel like the odds are pretty good. This team's good, and I know Milwaukee's hard charging, but I don't think that's going to stop the Cubs from making the playoffs. The Brewers could overtake them for the division, but I think the Cubs still make the playoffs. Anyway, hey, thanks for being here. Get in the comment section. You guys are making this channel amazing. We hit 7,600 subscribers. That is awesome. We're trying to get to 10,000. Please keep sharing with your friends. Keep putting it out there. Keep getting in the comments and talking about things. Like the videos. All of that stuff means so much. And look, it's late where I'm at right now for you guys to have this in the morning, but I'm doing it because we're on a roll right now. We can't stop. We can't stop. It's going to be a fun day at Wrigley. Hey, go Cubs.